For a long time, the war had been just a distant rumor, a noise on the radio, but one ordinary morning, that illusion was violently shattered. The sound started faint, a growing hum on the horizon, swelling quickly into the deafening roar of multiple helicopters. They dropped low, circling and tightening their grip, enclosing the village like a noose. Dust and debris exploded around them. Trees shook. For the people below, the message was terrifyingly clear. The war was no longer distant. It had arrived at their very doorsteps. Hein Fuangan was inside her home, busy with the simple routines of the day, when the shouts and children's screams sliced through the rising thunder outside. She stepped out, and the world had changed. Armed men in unfamiliar uniforms, American soldiers, were swarming the fields and paths, rifles held ready. This was not a passing patrol. It was a sweeping, brutal force. They screamed orders, fired indiscriminately at houses and farm animals, and drove villagers from their homes at gunpoint. Terrified, confused, and clustered together, they were forced into a single stream, pushed relentlessly toward the irrigation ditch that ran alongside the fields. Win Puang, and along with her husband, her children, and all her neighbors, was herded to the edge of that ditch. They were ordered to stand, then kneel, then lie down exposed and completely powerless. Mothers fiercely clutched their children. Some silently prayed, others simply cried. The youngest among them could only sense the unnatural silence that had fallen over the adults. Then, the silence was ripped apart. Machine gun fire erupted, deafening and endless. The unarmed crowd was instantly torn apart. Bodies began to topple, collapsing into the ditch. Screams were instantly drowned out by the continuous barrage of gunfire and the incessant roar of the rotors above. Blood poured, instantly staining the soil and the muddied water. As the people around her fell, Hein Fuang An was knocked and dragged down into the ditch. She hit the cold water, the thick mud, and the crushing weight of other bodies. In a flash of agonizing clarity, she understood that any movement, any sound, meant immediate death. She forced her body to go slack, to lie utterly still among the dead. Blood soaked her clothes and her headscarf until the fabric grew heavy and cold. Instinctively, she pulled the scarf down, covering her face completely, to hide any sign that life remained within her. Through tiny gaps, she could glimpse heavy boots pacing the rim above, rifles pointed down, and occasional, chilling single shots fired into the massive bodice just to make sure. Around her were the people she loved most, her husband, relatives, and neighbors she had known since childhood. And then, there was her young son. Against all odds, he was still alive, trapped beneath and between the tangled bodies. In a blind, desperate instinct, the boy managed to lift his head above the pile of corpses, his eyes searching wildly for the one thing that had always meant safety to him. He called out, just once, for his mother. He did not know that his mother's survival hinged entirely on her ability to remain indistinguishable from the dead. That small, desperate movement, that single cry, instantly drew the attention of a soldier standing directly above them. The rifle swung. Hein Fuang Anna saw the muzzle flash and heard the sharp crack of the shot that struck her son straight in the chest, through his heart. She could not move. She could not reach for him. She could not even allow herself the release of a cry. In a single heartbeat, the instinctive act of a child seeking his mother ended in silence. That image of sun rising and falling lifeless among the bodazes was engraved into her mind forever. Eventually, the firing tapered off. The helicopters lifted away, leaving the ditch behind, transformed into an open-massed grave. When the mechanical noise finally faded, the only sounds left were the faint groans of a few wounded survivors and the sluggish, sickening trickle of blood-stained water. Slowly, painfully, Hein Fuang Anna pulled the sodden scarf from her face. Her hands were shaking violently as she rose among the dead. She stared at the scene around her. The narrow ditch of village life, now a trench choked with corpses. Personal belongings scattered along the muddy edge. For others, this image might one day be a symbol of a massacre. For her, it was the exact, undeniable spot where her child died before her eyes. The nightmare did not end when the soldiers left. In the chaos of wartime, survivors like Hein Fuang and Age were often treated not as victims, but as suspects. Coming from a village marked by such horrific violence was enough to invite accusations of aiding or. She was detained and savagely interrogated. She was beaten, threatened, forced to endure hunger, exhaustion, and endless questioning, as if she owed an explanation for having survived the firing line. In the confines of her cell, she relived the day at the ditch endlessly, pressed for names and secrets she simply did not possess. The war continued to claim her world piece by piece. 2 other sons and her husband were killed in the ongoing conflict, each loss a further tearing away of everything she knew. When the fighting finally subsided, she remained a survivor in the bleakest sense, alive, yet stripped of her family and the ordinary life she once held dear. What she carried out of the war were not victories or dates from history books, but the unbearable haunting sounds of rotors, the gunfire and the screams, the terrifying feel of cold water and heavy bodies, and the suffocating weight of a scarf pulled over her face as she pretended to be dead. For the rest of her life, memory became both her burden and her solemn responsibility. Telling her story did not erase the agonizing pain, but it was essential work. It kept the truth from being buried with all those who never had the chance to speak. In her eyes, the war was not defined by maps and strategic maneuvers, but by that single day, when helicopters ringed her village, when soldiers poured in from all sides, when villagers were driven to a ditch and mercilessly gunned down, and when one woman survived only by lying still in a mass grave. She lived on as a necessary witness, bearing the unbearable knowledge that survival, for her, meant watching those she loved die and carrying that profound weight until her final breath. Thank you for watching this devastating testimony. If you want to learn more about the human cost of conflict, please follow and subscribe.